Hello folks, it's Bennett again. I just going to tell you some stories from my Badsey Boy book. But first, I've got to make an apology. A certain gentleman emailed me yesterday, I can't mention no names, but he said that my first efforts at making a YouTube were too long and he couldn't be bothered to watch it all, and could I make a new video with just a few short stories that were on the first video. So I emailed him back and said yes I would, and that's where video number 3 comes in. I just did those stories basically for this person, but the people that have already seen those stories and heard those stories, I hope you enjoyed them again anyway. But that's that. I hope this person's now happy that I've done this for him. So anyway, we'll start. Ghost stories. We all like a ghost story, and I've got a couple. First is I suffer sleep apnea, and I'd come out from driving my lorry at night and I was laying on the settee asleep, and I'm convinced 100% that my father said to me when I was fast asleep, "Take a breath, son, take a breath," because I was obviously holding my breath, which is what happens in sleep apnea. And I obviously took a breath, and I'm completely 100% convinced that my father saved my life. Another incident. I used to go around the old people's homes doing Forties evenings, dressed up, top hat and tails, singing the old songs, "We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day," all that sort of stuff. And I was in this nursing home this one night, and I'd got all these, I call them inmates, all in a circle, half circle in front of me. And we're all singing along, and they're all joined arms, and they're all, singing along and having a great old time. But up on the balcony, on the next floor, there was a woman in a red dress with long curly hair. She was dancing along to my singing, and every time I stopped, she stopped and applauded, and like everybody else. Then at the end of the evening, they took all the inmates away and put them to bed, and I'm sat talking to some members of staff, and I said about this woman up on the balcony. They said there wasn't nobody up there. I said there was. I could see her. As plain as I could see you, she was dancing along. They said, "What does she look like?" And I told them, this woman says, "Come with me." And she took me upstairs to this balcony. We went through these double doors, along this passageway, to some more double doors. We opened these double doors, and on the wall of this old building, there was this massive picture of this woman in a red dress with long curly hair that used to own the house 200 years ago. And I can tell you now, it was the same woman that was dancing on the balcony to my singing. You could say that my singing raised the dead, but who knows? My dad used to tell a story about a ghost. When my mum used to, before they got married, used to live in a place called Mill Lane. And to get down to the old mill where the houses were, you had to walk down this lane in the dark. And my dad and my mum were walking down the lane, and my dad was pushing his bike. And it was dark. He said, and my dad used to say, all of a sudden the bike was pulled out of my hand. And it was being pushed along by the side of him. I mean, it was a downhill. So if the bike would have been, if he'd let go of the bike would have gone off in front of him. But no, this bike was by the side of him, being pushed at the same speed as they was walking. That's scary. Where I lived in Badsey, with my mum and dad and my sisters, my bedroom was haunted. My sisters wouldn't go in my bedroom. My brother would at a push, but it was my bedroom. Things used to move on the dressing table, things would move. And I had this problem that something used to jump up and down on the bottom of my bed. I'd be up in the corner of the bed screaming for my dad, and the bottom of the bed would be going up and down. And we found out at a later date that a policeman's son had drowned in the brook, and they used to live in this house. So there, that's a scary story. Anyway, forget that. Talk about scary stories. I was coming home from Littleton to Badsey one night. It's a country road about 5 miles long. It's dark, and I was on a motorbike, and I had to go around this S-bend. And on this S-bend, there's a brook runs underneath the road, and there's a bridge either side of the road. I've gone round the bend, and as I've gone round the bend, I could see these red lights of a car down in the ditch by the side of the brook. So being a brave little soldier that I was, scared the shit out of me. So being a brave little soldier that I was, I stopped my bike, turned around, got off, went down to see if anybody was in there. I'm looking through the passenger window, and it's pitch black, you can imagine. And this face is turned towards me and gone, "Help me!" Scared me to fucking death. I've run about, jumped on my motorbike, got into the phone box. We had one phone box in the village. Phoned the police, ambulance, fire brigade, everybody, everything. I was stood there on the main road, and I'm watching. 5 minutes later, I heard the sirens coming. Then I heard the ambulance, the fire engine, the police. Never found out who it was. Never found out if they was okay. But I thought I was a hero back then. But that's just a little funny little story that I've got. When I first started fishing for Evesham Association, it was my first ever Evesham Association match. I got set up. There's a bloke called Spike. His name was Mick. I can't remember his second name. I knew this bloke. I'd spoken to him, said hello to him. But that was as far as it went, really. And we fished this match, and I was walking along the bank waiting for the scales, and this bloke sat on his box. And he's taking his wellies off. And he said, "Hey, Benny," he said, "give us a hand, will you?" I said, "Yeah, sure, mate. What do you want doing?" He said, "Pull my welly off for me, will you?" So I grabs hold of this, but he said, "It's a bit tight." So I grabs hold of this welly with both hands. Grabs hold of it, gives it a yank. I went over fucking backwards. I'm fucking screaming. I'd only got this bloke's false leg in this fucking welly, hadn't I? And he sat there laughing and laughing and laughing. And I was a laughing stock. Talking about false legs, there was a bloke in Evesham I always called him Victor Polanski. The locals will know who I mean. And he'd only got one leg. And he wore a welly on his false leg. This is when we used to stand in the river fishing. And he said to me one day, he said, "I've got the advantage over you in the winter." And I said, "Why is that?" He said, "I only get one cold foot." Ghost stories, conk. Um, I used to get into a bit of trouble when I was a little lad. Well, a fair bit of trouble, to be honest. And I used to get the cane a fair bit. And the bloke who used to deliver the strokes, we used to call him Pancho, little bloke. And he used to take the bend over the table and he'd go across the room. And he used to take 4 steps across the room before he delivered the stroke. And I hated the bastard, I did. And I was talking to Alan Clark, Ernie Clarkson, a big motorbike fanatic. Pancho also got a motorbike. And he was only a little bloke, Pancho. Same size as me, but a bit slimmer. And I was talking to Alan about this Pancho, because he knew Pancho, he'd had dealings with. He said, what you need to do, he said, get a couple of carrots, push them down into the exhaust pipe. He said, that'll stop the compression, and he won't be able to kick-start his motorbike. I said, that sounds like a good idea. So I get a couple of carrots, and we walk into school, and I just happened to lean over 2 carrots down the exhaust pipe. And at the end of the day, when Pancho used to come out, he used to wear this long leather coat and this green helmet. And he gets on his motorbike and he's kicking his motorbike. Of course it won't start. And we're all stood there watching because my friends knew what I'd done. And his helmet comes off and he's kicking his motorbike. And it won't start. And then the coat comes off and he's kicking it and he's fiddling with this and fiddling with that. Of course, we're all stood watching. He's kicking. He's sweating, and in the end, he gave up. Went back into the school. Well, we've all gone home then. The next day, I got called to his office. And on the desk were 2 carrots. And he looked at me and he said, has this got anything to do with you, Bennett? And I said, what's that, sir? And he said, these carrots seem to have materialised in my exhaust pipe. Is there anything to do with you? I said, no, sir, I wouldn't do a thing like that, sir. He said, well, I have on good authority that it was you. Bend over the desk. So I bent over the desk, gritted my teeth, squeezed the cheeks of my arse together. And he's gone to the other side of the room and he's swishing the cane. And he took his 4 steps and he never hit me. He bent over, put his mouth by my ear and said, I suppose you think that was fucking funny, don't you? And then he gave me 6. Bastard. Talking about motorbikes, Tussie. One of my school friends, Glyn Dennick. He had this, he was the first one of our gang to have a motorbike. And he had a red C11G. And he kept on about he was going to fetch his motorbike. He was going to bring it to the wreck where we all used to hang about. Well, to get to the wreck, you had to come along this long concrete pathway between 2 fences. And we were all sat in the grandstand waiting for him to come along. And we saw him coming along this pathway on his motorbike. Fine, he came along the pathway, but as soon as he hit the grass, he fell off. And we've all gone running across the field to help him get this motorbike back up, and he's gone on it and he's rode it across the bandstand. And we're all looking at it, we're all jealous. And he said, well, I'm going to go for a ride now. Gets on his motorbike, starts up, goes across the field, fell off again. Good old Glyn. Oh, look, he's got a bit loopy now. bless him, he's same age as me, he's gone a bit totally, you know. As you do, we all go through the same sort of thing. When I first, well, before I left school actually, my dad got me a job in Offenham on a pig farm. All I can remember of the bloke's name is Alan. He had one eye. And I remember he used to chase his wife up the road throwing bricks at her. He was a bit of a nutter. But these pigs, I fucking hated them. I'll tell you, I hated pigs. But there was this one. She was a nasty fucking sow. And I went into work one Saturday morning. There was a list. He wasn't there. There was just a list of jobs for me to do. And on this list was cleaning this sow's pen out. What you do, you threw some pig nuts into the corner, which give you a chance to sweep all the old straw and cow shit out and throw some more in. Right, sounds simple. She got 11 little piglets at the time. They're only tiny little things. And I've thrown the piglets into the corner. She's got in and I'm sort of watching her with one eye. And I've got my broom and I'm sweeping all this straw out. And I'm watching this thing. All of a sudden I hear this fucking sow turn round. And I come charging across that pen. And grabbed the fucking broom. And I'm holding on to the broom and there's like, and her bit the fucking thing straight in half. Well, what I'd done, I'd swept one of her piglets up with a straw. I bit this broom in half, but I'm over the side of the fence. I'm gone. I'm on my bike. That was it. No more pig farm for me. He came round to my house the next day and he asked me what had happened. I told him. He begged me to go back. I said, no way am I going back there again. And I didn't. My brother, I've told you some stories about my brother before, but my brother went through a stage in his life where he was into photography in a big way. And he wanted to catch a photograph of a kingfisher. So he went up onto these, got permission off this farmer to go onto his private land by the river. He stuck this stick in the ground and he set up a hide a few feet away from it. And he spent hours and hours and hours in this hide. Camera set up, waiting for a kingfisher to land on this stick. And after weeks and weeks and weeks, it finally happened. And my brother, I'm just going to move the camera for a second. Can you see the picture of this kingfisher? That is the actual picture that my brother took. And I've mentioned that he's passed away. But I wrote a poem for my brother about this kingfisher. It's called A Flash of Blue. And this is the poem. A warning screech as the kingfisher comes nearby. A blue flash stops for his luck to try. On a branch he sits on the stairs. The minnow below lies blissfully unawares. He sits there motionless, ready to dive. It is times like this I feel glad to be alive. At last it comes, a dive from the master. Must be a youngster, as it's a complete disaster. Back on his branch it sits again. This time to dive won't be in vain. Away he goes, diving at full peak, comes out of the water with a minnow in his beak. The minnow's head is smashed to a pulp. It lifts its head and it's gone in one gulp. Did the Kingfisher put on this show just for you? Be nice to think so, as it is off in a flash of blue. See, you didn't know I was a poet as well, did you? Well, now you do. That was my brother. Ben Drake. I got to tell you about Ben Drake. Ben Drake was a great friend of mine. He lives in Newbury. Big house, got his own fishing lake. Asked me to go down and give his team a talk on fishing. And I agreed to do this. And I've gone down on the Friday night. I've gone to his house. And as I pulled into his drive, big house, big lake, 4 Alsatians come out of his house. One at each door. Right. Every time I've gone to open the door, they've all stood up fast. I thought, I can get out of there. So I peeps the horn and he comes out and he calls the dogs. He said, they won't hurt you. He says, they're only being friendly. They won't hurt you. I said, yeah, all right. So I goes in and they've done stew and dumplings for tea and showed me my room, and off we've gone to this pub. And there's all these blokes there, and I've given a talk to these blokes. Lasted about, I don't know, hour and a half. And I'm on the strongbow as you are. And finished the talk, and here I am, sat in the corner again, telling stories. Strongbow, more strongbow. Anyway, we left the pub at about 1:30 in the morning. Gets back to his house. I goes to bed. I need to go to bed and lay in bed about 20 minutes. God, I want to piss. I'm desperate for a piss. So I open the bedroom door and there's 4 Alsatians fucking lay there. I've opened the door and they've stood up. I shut the door and thought, fuck that, I'm not going out there. So I thought, oh, I've got to have a piss. So I'm looking around the room, there's no sink, there's no bathroom, there's nothing. I thought, I've got to find somewhere to have a piss in. I've looked around, can't find anything. So I thought, I've got to do something. So I've opened the window, got a stool, out into the darkness. Oh, the relief. And I could hear this piss hitting the floor. Well, I've had 5, 6 pisses during the night, all through the window. And I get up the next morning and they said, did you sleep all right? I said, yeah, fine, yeah, no problem at all, yeah. And they done me a big full English. And the dogs never moved from me. They sat all around my chair. And I've gone to go and I've said thank you very much and all that. They thanked me and that. And as I've walked out the door, there's 4 metal dog food dishes all in a row. And all 4 of them was full of this green strongbow piss. I thought, yes, revenge is mine. Tony Skinner. I got a story about Tony Skinner. I love Tony Skinner to bits. We were going to fish the John Smith final, and he phoned me up this one day. He said, you fancy coming along the river, walk along the river? I look at the papers. I said, yeah, all right, yeah, it's summer evening, it's lovely. But they've been doing work on my road. They resurfaced it. And all the drain covers were standing proud, and there's all these metal things sticking out the ground and all this, that and the other. And Tony had come on my road, dodging these drain covers and stuff. manhole covers. There was all sorts of stuff sticking out of the thing. And he stopped at my house, and he got a 2-door car, and his daughter was sat in the front seat, and he got out and I've got in the back. And as soon as I sat down, he's took off. And before I could get my seatbelt on, he's got over the top of one of these manhole covers. The drive shaft has got caught on this manhole cover, and the back of the car's fucking gone up in the air, 4 foot in the air. Of course, I had not strapped in, so I've gone straight over the top, landed in a heap, and I've got my leg between his daughter's legs. And we're all in a heap. We can't get the car. And the neighbours are all coming out, and they're taking pictures of this car stuck up in the air, and it's the funniest thing they've ever seen. And we scrambled out this car, and Tony takes all these pictures, and we've got the car down, and he's claimed on the insurance. The insurance has written the car off. And he bought the car off him for 100 quid or whatever. Repaired the car, and he got the money and the car back for 100 quid, which I thought was a bit of a bargain, really. Well, I'm going to stop there. This is video number 4. Will there be a number 5? Who knows? Probably. But I will let you know. I hope you've enjoyed these videos. Because I have to say that I've enjoyed making them. I've enjoyed the response, because I think to make people laugh is the funniest, it's the most wonderful thing in life. All through my life I've tried to make people laugh. Well, I have made people laugh, especially when I was a drag artist for 7 years. There's stories about that I'm going to tell in my next video if I do one. But as for now, cheerio, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope to see you all soon. Be good.